Listen, we only get one shot at this.
Why not live life on our own terms? Hey everyone, it's Tom Kradza, and on this episode of the Your Life, Your Term show, we sit down with Risel and Ernest Furtado. This is an amazing couple. When we first met them, it's several years ago. Ernest mentioned that he'd already been following us and following Rockstar for like a decade and was kind of watching us from afar. He joined on, became a Rockstar Inner Circle member along with Risel. They sat on some hot seats that we do here at Rockstar where we put people at the front of the room and just get them to share some of the biggest challenges they have in their life. I feel like they went through this massive transformation over the brief time that we got to know them. And then earlier, I guess last year, so in the spring of last year, we kind of got word that they were selling everything in North America and going to just travel the world. They ended up in Portugal. The last picture I saw of them, they had 2 suitcases at the airport. They had sold all their goods. I learned on this podcast that Ernest sold his car or their car on the day that they were flying out of the country. So when we talk about people living life on their terms, these are the examples that we love to share. So on this podcast, we have them zoom in from Portugal just to share their journey. Why did they leave Canada? Why did they sell all their belongings? What the heck are they doing over there in Portugal? How are they living? Where are they staying? What's going through their mind? Are they enjoying it? All this kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that really, I feel, gives all of us the perspective. And before I quit my job, I would have loved to hear people like this share their own journey. So it's an honor and a pleasure to be able to share this kind of chat. So that's what we do on this particular episode. And listen, if you are listening to this and you want to figure out if real estate could be part of your own journey, and maybe it's not, like maybe it's not right for you, but if you want to figure out if it is or it isn't, and you're looking for some information, you can check out some reports and books and classes and videos and articles that we have, and they're all available on rockstarinnercircle.com. That's rockstarinnercircle.com. And the reason that we put them up there is when Nick and I were beginning, we couldn't find any Canadian information. And I'm sure it was out there, but it was not available to us and we were searching for it. So this is our way to give back and give some information to people who are looking for something. And again, it's not to convince anybody out there to invest in real estate. Real estate's definitely a crazy market. But if you feel it is right for you, you might want some information to help make that evaluation better, more clear, and possible. So you can go to rockstarinnercircle.com for a ton of the information that we are sharing. That's it for this intro. Let's get on with the show.
Are you ready to live life on your terms? Is it time to take charge? Real estate, business building, the economy, health and nutrition, and more. It's the Your Life, Your Term show with Tom and Nick Karadza. Are you ready? Let's go.
We are live with Risel and Ernest, and I don't even know where to start with you guys because you guys have the craziest. So you have one of the great, listen, we tell people about living life on their terms. You guys are fully living life on your terms. You seem to be the poster people for living life on your terms, which we love. But before we dive in, I know you're in downtown Lisbon right now, and you just said that you want to get back to the beach. That reminds me so much of when Nick and I are in Croatia. Because when I'm at the beach, I just want to be at the beach. The pace is slower. My mind is turned off a little bit more. I can think. I can have my wine at lunch with my espresso. Then I can go pass out on the beach for a couple hours. Like it's glorious. Then when I have to go to the city for something and everyone's running around, even there, it's not as fast as North America, but even there, it's a little bit busy. You just kind of get amped up and you're like, oh my gosh, get me out of here. So that's where you guys are headed, right? Back to the beach.
Just be near water. So to go back to our journey, the reason for being at the beach and we're like getting squirrely, everything here is in major lockdown, right? Sort of welcome to the world. It seems like the whole world is in lockdown somehow. So, take out food if you're lucky, grocery store, drugstore, that's pretty much it. So when we were here in January, February of last year, we started scouting out what the opportunities were. It was really busy. Like I thought it was insanely busy. And people were saying, oh no, this is the off season. I'm going, really? Where are you going to put more people? And they're like, no, you come here in the summer and it's like wall to wall. And I could see that now. We've seen the Airbnbs and stuff. So we spent, we've launched our business. We have to meet with accountants, lawyers, people, staff, yada, yada. So that's been sort of our business. So we're in the same business as you guys. We're in real estate and real estate investing, and so we're now nomad realtors, nomad real estate investors is really what it is, and that's the intention. We've been very fortunate that we've connected with a company that's growing globally. So we've opened our country almost every month now. There's a new country being opened, and so we just want to follow suit and go visiting those places. So why Portugal? So go back, my parents were Portuguese, immigrated to Brazil where I was born, lived the first 10 years of my life in Brazil, Sao Paulo, moved to Toronto, Canada, and lived there for most of my adult life, and there's a whole story around that, but I won't get into that. 6 years ago, almost last weekend, we went on our official first date. So on, early February, and fast forward to June the 7th of that year, we got married. and our goal was, in 2008, I had a sort of, bit of a visionary, had this vision in my head, how can I work from anywhere in the world? Right. So that was my goal. And then the other thing was my business partner at the time. I said, Mike, I want to work 24/7. He goes, you work 24/7 now? I go, no, the new 24/7. I want to work 24 hours a week, 7 months of the year. I never again in my life want to see snow. So when we started dating, I said, hey, this is the gig. Okay. So if you're in, we're good. If you're not in, then maybe I'm not the right person for you. So we came to this agreement, and we also came to the agreement as fast as possible. We'll work as smartly as possible and hard to get to this financial freedom point, cash flow, residual income and stuff like that. Risel said, well, real estate is your thing. It's not really my thing. And I go, okay, whoa, okay, red light. If real estate is not your thing, we don't have a thing.
Risel was an employee.
Yes. So Risel had to, and basically I said, Risel, you're welcome to, if you love what you're doing, if you truly love what you're doing, then I suggest that you can stay there, but you make real estate your thing. I think real estate should be everybody's thing, it's just, I'm on your side.
It's got a good track record.
It's got a good
track record. But Risel got into real estate. That was
apparently Risel was doing real estate on her own. I bought and sold my own houses, but I didn't consider that because it was my own, private residence.
Yeah. She was
experience, but I did it without too much help.
She was buying pre-construction homes and making good money. By the time the house was ready, she made good money, more than the average person buying resale. Where we sort of, anyway, so that's how it all happened. We got together, we created this plan, this vision to get out. We were both okay being on the beach somewhere warm, right?
And Ernest, just to be clear, you were in real estate as well. Can you just describe a little bit, what were you doing in Toronto in real estate?
I've been in real estate since I was 21 years old. This is my 38th year as a realtor. And I got into it because, when I was 20 years old, I wanted to be a builder. I love architecture. If I was good in school, I would have been an architect. And thank God I wasn't good in school, because I would have wanted to sit behind the desk drafting all day. I'm not saying architects do that all the time, but that's what I thought I wanted to be. And then as I went along, and there's a story around there. I started school in grade 6 and I quit in grade 10. So I was still, learning how to say cat and dog in grade 8. So it was very difficult to learn the language. And so at school, I was very good with numbers. I was very good in French. I could speak French better than I could speak English. I didn't understand.
So you weren't speaking English when you came to Canada?
No, I was Brazil was
wow.
Portuguese. Yeah, I didn't speak 3 words of English.
Oh, I didn't realize. And what was the age again that you came to Canada?
I came at the age of 10.
Yeah, that's tough. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it's where people are,
Risel, where were you born again? Remind me.
Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Ernest, that's yourself. And Risel, where were you born?
Oh, Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago. Got it. Okay. Keep going, Ernest. Keep going. Take us through the journey here.
Yeah, and basically wanted to be a builder and got into real estate. Figured out, doing work and construction and things like that, learning to do different things. I worked in a hardware store. I learned to buy materials. I knew all about the materials, how to buy it, how to order it. Started doing flip deals for other people. And then one day I was doing drafting. So, somebody wanted a garage, if they wanted an extension to their, in the Portuguese community, they wanted to make a wine cellar. I could help you get a permit. And so I was doing that kind of stuff. And then I started taking
permit. You got permits. So you were doing things properly. You were doing things properly. The community that I grew up in, permits. What do you, that involves going through the government for something, Ernest. That's just,
but
that's only
make
the wine cellar.
Only after they got busted. If they didn't get busted, there was no permits.
I think I remember one story on my street where there's a family down the street. We got wind that some property tax girl was going to come through and check if you had finished your basement, because your taxes would then go up, and people were blocking their windows on our street so that nobody could see downstairs. You know, like, this is just to give you where, like, that's where I grew up. Like, oh my gosh, right? Like, don't look in our house. Don't worry, nothing to see here.
That was the whole thing.
Okay,
so going to night school drafting, taking an upgrading drafting course. I used to drive. I didn't drive in those days. Are you kidding? That was in my teens. But anyways, I used to walk by this little tiny real estate office right next to Onstead, Bloor and Bathurst. And I went to Central Tech for night school. If everybody knows the neighborhood, anyways, high school there, at night school. And one day I saw this salesman wanted sign. So I sort of looked and, very timid. Couldn't say boo to anybody, very, very introvert. Walked in and I asked the man, can you tell me about the salesman, John? And he's going, sit down, young man. What are you doing? Sit down. He goes, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I thought, I want to be a builder. And he says, you should get your real estate license. I go, real estate license? And I go, sir, builder. He goes, yeah, you got to buy the land, build the house, sell the house. Why not make money on both ends and all three sides? I was like, good idea. So 5 weeks later, I'm a realtor, didn't have a clue, didn't have any money. The $500 it cost me for my real estate license back then, that was it. And then there was a guy by the name of Raymond Aaron. Raymond Aaron's still around. Back then, he was the Canadian version of No Money Down, right? So, the late night TV, the Tom Vu and everybody else. So he was the Canadian version. He was teaching you, but I couldn't afford to go. So a friend of mine went, made all the notes. And we came back and we shared all of his notes and all the documentation. And I went out and bought my first house with no money down and bought the second house with no money down. So anyways, 4 years later, we owned a bunch
on the no money down stuff, what you were doing vendor takebacks to do the no money
doing
down?
Whatever. Anybody who had cash, same thing we do now. So doing JVs with people, I'll do all the work. You put up the money, the down payment, you qualify for the mortgage, and I'll take a piece of the action. So, I was convincing mom and dad to support me, and they did a little bit. And then, the lawyer I used on my first deal thought I was nuts, but he loved me. So he got one of his investors to invest with me on my second deal. I had a dear friend of mine who I sold his investment property. His wife was a shopaholic. So he hid $10,000 and said, okay, you can use it for a year, and that kind of stuff. So it was just this buying and flipping properties. And God, I wish we were buying properties like for 25,000, 50,000. This is Toronto, right?
So was this the 25,000? Was this the 70s?
This is in the early 80s, right?
Early 80s, right? Okay, early 80s.
85, 86.
But on that point, isn't it amazing once you start taking action in an area, how the money starts showing up and the opportunities start showing? Isn't that crazy? Like you just started going down that path and things started showing up for you, but keep going.
Yeah, like we were borrowing money at 13-14%, and that was a deal, right? And it got worse. By the time we got to 1989, it was like, 13% was if you got a first mortgage at 13 points, woo, you're laughing. I had second mortgages at 18, I had a third at 21, and we made the deals happen. So, I could care less. If the numbers work, the numbers work. It doesn't matter how it works. And anyway, so that's the whole thing. And then, if I hired somebody, jack of all trades, master of a few, but if I was hiring the plumber, hey, find me a deal. If I was hiring the roofer, hey, find me a deal. So they became my clients. And that's how my real estate career, and most of my career has been, infill housing. I used to tell people, if I go north of the 401, I get a nosebleed. So it's got to be south of the 401, right? 427, Don Valley, 401. That's my grid. That's where I work. And people say, oh, there's no land here. I go, yeah, there's lots of land. There's lots of shacks you knock down. So, doing split lots, doing toppers, bungalows to multi-level. And I always did, I took a duplex and made it into a fourplex in Hyde Park, things like that. Basement apartment, third floor loft, staircase off the back, whatever we did. So we did that whole thing. recession came. I was told recession was coming. Like you guys are always telling us, just be cautious. I'm like, the hell's recession? I missed that class. Obviously, I didn't go to school that much. So recession came and everybody's freaking out. Oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. It's, whatever, skyrocket, prices are dropping. I just ignored everybody. I just kept going. I just didn't know any better. My stupidity was my saving grace. And I just kept going. Anyways.
And on that point, I just want to call that out. Sometimes when you're naive about something, I'm not saying you were naive during that recession, because you're talking about the recession of the early 90s. Is that the recession you're referring to?
Yeah.
I think sometimes
90 to 95, it was
oh geez. I think when you're naive to something and you don't have, I'm not saying you had a lot or a little, but if you don't have much to lose, and you can keep going, and like, it doesn't matter. I think sometimes you get to a point in life where maybe you're older and there's more on the line for you, and you think, you want to protect yourself, you want to be aware of these things. But sometimes Nick and I are very grateful that we didn't even know what we were doing in business when we started this in 2007, right? The financial crisis hit the US and everybody told us this business is wrong time to start, but we didn't know any better, and you make it work. And I feel like, I'm not saying you didn't know any better. You were obviously well-educated in the business. No, but so when we talk about recession, it's more just to be aware of economic changes. It's never to think or imply that there's not opportunity. And hearing you say that is a reminder for me to reiterate that point. It's more just, hey, be aware there's a shift here. And often that shift brings a ton of opportunity. It's more just be aware of it. Our family at one point was, I guess ignorant is maybe not the right word, but we didn't know that kind of stuff could happen. We were over leveraged as a family, caught us off guard. And we just got through that with the skin of our teeth. Yeah. And you're you as well. So, but so keep going. So you went through that period then, the early 90s there.
That period, survived it, was, pretty much amassed a couple of mil, didn't have a mortgage, owned a couple of cars, owned a place in Florida. I went from like being broke, single to, doing okay, wife, 2 kids at the time, and just figured it out, just kept going and stuff like that. Fast forward later, 3 kids and an ex-wife later, life started again, looking after mom and dad, and just kept going in the real estate business. It's been my career. I sort of focus on more, has always been the commercial side, the residential business. As a residential realtor, I bow to those people because they think that, oh, I can't do commercial, I can't do residential, so we're good. You stay on your lane, I'll stay in my lane. We're good that way. Evenings and weekends became like, I'm not doing this anymore, right? And typically residential, not that commercial realtors don't work evenings and weekends and 7 o'clock in the morning to whatever, but it was all more about numbers. So on the investment side, so I would say I'm an investment realtor, a developer, and that's sort of been my gig. And so that's been our whole thing. We're going up and down. And sort of 8 years on my own, I decided that's enough. I wanted to invest in a relationship. Risel and I connected, and that's a whole other podcast for another day. Because that's a very unique and different story how we connected.
But I got to say, seeing you guys together, and we haven't known each other too long, but we've known each other for a little bit of time, and just seeing you guys together, you could tell you guys have a really cool thing going on. So congratulations. From the outside, it's pretty obvious. So
the inside is even better. So it's even, I can honestly tell you, it's beyond my wildest dreams.
It's fun.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Actually, you're making me remember something. I think I think I remember at one of our events, I might have like yelled at you or something, Ernest. Did I? Was that you? If I did, I apologize. I'm having this flashback to like some.
We started on the hot seat.
Yeah, was that in the hot seat? And I remember, and if I did, it was out of love. It was out of love. But I remember saying, I can't even remember the discussion at this point, to tell you the truth, but I just remember thinking, wow, these guys have so much opportunity in front of them. I don't even know if they see all the opportunity in front of them. And then that's where Nick and I just, it's like, do you guys even know what you're capable of, So,
well, I have to thank you, because I was aware, especially for me, my hot seat theme was, I'm really good at making millions for others. I suck at doing it for myself. I'm always much better at looking after other people's money than my own. And so that's been my journey, taking this property. That's when you freak out. So I go crazy if I know, we'll bring it here. You're like, don't you see this? I said, yeah, I see it. But, it's like a bad habit. And so anyways, we connected. It's been an amazing journey. I would say from, February the 9th, 2015 until today. I don't think we've been apart more than a couple of weeks in those journeys ever. Like we literally 24/7. So, we're best friends, we're business partners, and we work together. We have fun together. We do know how we've learned in this almost 6 years now. It'll be June 7th, it'll be 6 years. We know when we all need a little space. Rizal needs a lot more space than I do. I'm good with everybody anytime. So, party, go, let's go.
I'm like Risel sometimes. I need to check out sometimes. I need my space, Hey, I love being together and stuff, but give me a little time. Give me some time here. I want to read a book. I want to think. I want to just reflect. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But so take it, and I don't want to skip anything. So tell me if I am, but I remember speaking to you guys, I feel like a couple of years ago, I don't know when it was exactly, and you were going to do a development or you were looking at some project. And then I feel like the next thing I know, you're like, oh, great news. We sold everything. And there's a picture of some suitcases and you're like, we're leaving and we're going to Portugal and we're gone forever. Well, what so if I'm skipping something, tell me, but take us to that point, because that was crazy. In a good way. In a good way.
It is not my thing. And so, I had a very wise mentor. He says, Ernest, never coach your wife, right? And so when Risel wanted to get involved, and she said, I want to buy a little house, maybe we'll start there. And I said, honey, you know what? That's great. You do that. I've been there, done that. I'm ready to move on to the next thing. But until you figure that out, that's where you're comfortable or whatever. And okay, so tell me. I said, no, I know these two great guys. I've been following them. I followed you guys from when you were in your closet, when Rockstar was a closet, right? So, and sort of just watching you guys, and I've always admired you from afar, and I said, these guys, I would say out of every, how-to investment club, because that's all they tell you, how to, be it, I'm not going to mention names, but you guys could figure it out. There's a lot of how-tos. You guys not only did the how-to, but here's the product. And I always thought that was genius, because that makes the most sense. It's not like, here's the how-to. It's like university. I'm a Robert Kiyosaki is like, forget that, get the education, go, here's the shovel, here's the hammer, figure it out, right? If you need a book, it ain't gonna happen, right? Be hands-on. And so I admired that. And I said, Risel, you know what? I'd highly recommend you go, let's go to these guys. So I went with her the first course, and she's like, oh, should I join? I said, if you don't join, I am. If they'll let me join, I'm joining. And then that's how it started. She started watching you guys and watching what we were doing in our group and watching what you guys were doing. And, and our coach was saying, okay, we're kind of looking for something a little bigger. It's like if you come across an 8, 12, 24 unit, maybe that's something we'd be interested in. And so we've been in that conversation, and Risel learned from you guys, because it's like children, right? Tom, it's like, your kids will listen to me before they'll listen to you. Right? And we did the same thing to our parents. And I think wives and husbands sort of, there's a good thing.
It goes between brothers too. Sometimes when I have what I know is a great idea, I tell someone else to tell Nick. My strategies. This is the first time I'm revealing this, by the way. Nick doesn't know this. I'm like, hey, tell Nick this. And then Nick will come in my office. Hey, I thought about this. We should probably do this. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Yeah, let's do that. Don't tell him I said that. Don't tell him. Anyway, keep it. Yeah, got it. But I totally understand.
You guys helped me out.
Yeah, big time.
And so basically, Risel wanted to start small. So I started her on a $3 million deal, 14 units, which is now 16 units. That was her small start. And when we talked to you guys about, there's an opportunity. It's in a phenomenal location in the Junction in Toronto, High Park Junction, and literally, the train and the GO train and the UP is in our backyard, right? The platform is really in our backyard. We're on Dundas Street. And so there's an opportunity there. There's some massive development going on there. Loblaws owns the one corner. It's going to be a new city they're building there. That whole West End, there's so many things. Bloor and Dufferin, Galleria Mall, Dupont and Dufferin, Bloor and Dundas, and just like mega little cities being built within the core. So we stayed there, and and then this opportunity came about. Our company that I'm part of a real estate brokerage who's going international. We talked about being international. When I joined them in 2017, was always about creating the commercial division. I'm always the guy that helped to support, if you guys want a commercial division, I can give you some ideas. And so that's been I did that with, I was so excited when LePage got back their commercial because they had sold off that arm at one point and they had a non-competing clause for many years. So LePage got their stuff back. Small brokerages around, we helped to do that. I did that with KW, which KW Commercial, I was part of the founders there and part of the founding through XP Commercial now. And always talking about international, So this has been our journey, buying and flipping. And so results sort of went through learning how to manage properties, learning how to deal with an asset management, which is really what my main focus, and dealing with the accountant, dealing with the trades, dealing with the whole stuff. And so it was the good thing. It was, 16 doors, but all under one roof. So it's not like we had 16 furnaces and stuff like that. We had 16 air conditioning units, but it's a whole different story. But it's sort of been that, and dealing with tenants and being a landlord, and so allowing her, just like a parent, you sort of watch the kid, right? They get on the bike, give them the little training wheels, and you sort of take it off. Okay, you're on your own now. Oh, I'm gonna fall. Okay, you come back. Okay, you're gone again. Anyway, she's now riding on her own. She can figure that out. And we thought about selling the building, and I have to thank you guys because talked about assets and holding on to stuff. And so well, maybe this is going public, right? So we milked as much as we could out of that building. We're basically taking all our money out. We're sitting on some cash for the next deal, and I've been waiting for this recession for 20 years. Because when we hit bottom in 1995, it was like 5 years to the next recession. It never really came.
Never came.
It never came. We had
a good friend told me in 1998, get ready. Property prices have gone up for like 2 years now. Like, get ready. They're about to come down. Right. That was like 23 years ago.
Yeah. And so that's been our journey, right? And 2008, there was that 6-month blip. The whole world was having a meltdown. The States was having a meltdown. Europe had a meltdown. We were under this bubble. Canada we were truly blessed. And so we're not, it's not that we don't love Canada. We love Canada. We just don't love winter in Canada. We're not winter people. I don't like ice in my drinks, man. So so there you go. So that's became that. And then, and then we were here in January, February, and this COVID thing was already hitting here fast and furious. And when we got back to Canada, we just walked in. Nobody's like, COVID, what? No corona. Like, we just walked right in. And then we basically went home, did laundry, repacked, and went off to Vegas for 10 days because we went to the Uncle G and the 10X. And so we hung out there for a little bit. And then when we came back that time, so by the time we came back in March, it was like everybody was wearing masks and the gloves and the distancing and all that stuff. And then anyways, all of that stuff. And then we were listening to a lot of the stuff that we were doing, some of the experience I had, and I sent the result, this might be a good time to cash out. Prices are going crazy.
We had some issues with our the home that we were living in. I purchased it before I met Ernest, and it was delayed 2 years, a bit over 2 years. Bad build, multiple leaks. So from 2017 to 2019, we actually had to get out of the home. Like, the builder had to put us up in hotels several times.
5 times.
Yeah. 5 times. Yeah. Now, this is the interesting thing. This is where, sometimes your journey and your destiny comes together. The first time we left, I think we were there for about 6 weeks or something like that, living in the hotel. I remember walking in, I remember saying, I could live in a space like this.
We went to
a Homewood Suites, Hilton Homewood Suites.
Yeah, so we had a sweet little kitchen, little, 1 room. And we thought,
this is nice.
This is okay. We can live in here. This is the 2 of us, and in those 5 journeys, 5 times we went back and forth and living in those small spaces. And we thought, it kind of gave us a training to how we're living
For
now.
how we're, yeah, it was
This
a
is the biggest
prerequisite for
apartment we've
living the
had in
way that,
years.
that we're living now. And during that time as well, because not just because of the lease, but there was something driving me to make our lives virtual. So everything scanned, everything, you know, accessible for travel wherever we wanted to go. So when this decision was made, we had actually planned, we do, you know, we vision and we set goals for each year. And we knew that in 2020, we were going to sell that house, but we were thinking it would be in the fall. This is pre-COVID. When you had the May, when Rockstar had that May, I think it was probably for
Probably the last event
the
we
VIP.
did, the big event that we did together.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah.
That was right before the lockdowns and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So between there and there was one of your, I think it was a VIP podcast. The decision was made. I was kind of waiting. Like he said, you know, it's probably time to sell. Something you said triggered me to tell him yes. Like I was kind of waiting on an answer, and something in the economic update. It's like, yes, this is a strong seller's market. Let's get out now. So that's why we sold the home.
Again, it had to come from you, not from me.
Yeah. Risel, what I have not told you is Ernest actually told me to say something specifically that I put onto one of the slides.
But it was like,
He
bang,
didn't. He didn't.
there-
He didn't. For the record, he did not. He did not.
Yeah, I was listening very carefully. So we spent the next week and a half pitching, purging, you know, getting rid of, selling, and we knew that we were going to return to Portugal. Even in the lockdown, we didn't know when. So we also knew that we didn't want to keep anything that we had. Like, why pay for storage? You know, we can always get things back. You know, whatever that looks like. Detaching from everything. Yeah, a week and a half, we put the house up for sale and it sold pretty much overnight. The buyer came.
Nothing that's not happening now.
Yeah, so,
we
yeah.
listed it right on in the market, whatever. I mean, we waited now and make another 10, 20,000 possibly, but it could have went the other way around. We didn't know. And
Sure. Oh my gosh. And everything we do is to live. You're not trying to maximize every moment and stress yourself out. I mean, I sometimes I think I find myself reminding some people around us that like, you got to live. Like you have to live. Everything we're doing is to live, not to maximize every dollar at all times in every specific spot. You know, there are times for that, but there are also times to go and do what you want to do and sell an asset to go and live. Right. I think sometimes people forget that.
Absolutely. And this is where, you know, I call it the financial freedom point, because otherwise you're always, you know, oh, when I get here, then I'll be okay. Then you get there and it's like, no, when I get here, then I'll be okay. And it's like, you're always chasing. It's like the carrot, right? It's never, you could see it, but it's never there. And so for us, we said, no, we're going to come back. We knew exactly, okay, if we create a budget, we need to make this much money and we're good. You know, if we have this much of money working for us, or equity or cash flow, and that will be our minimum, right? But not like living like hermit. Like we eat what we want, we go where we want, we do what we want. It's like, you know, technically, you know, I don't believe in retirement. We're both good that we're gonna, you know, I tell my kids, you know, Dad's gonna retire when you put me in the box, right? Until I can crawl or do whatever, it's gonna be real estate doing something. But it's not about the money anymore. Now it's about, you know, opportunities and love what you guys do. You know, not only do you look after your families, but you guys are a blessing to so many people.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't, you know, it's amazing what you guys are doing. So congratulations and thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
just
You know,
the way-
Ernest, thank you for saying that. I mean, Nick and I just feel like we're just doing, you know, earlier when you said we have the product, we're explaining how to do things and we have the product, that comes just from frustration, just so you know, because we were probably like you. We were reading books and we were like, where are the people that are going to help us do these things? And as crazy as this thought sounds, one day I literally said to myself, I guess me and Nick are going to have to be those people. Right. Like that. I know that sounds really ludicrous to say. And it's almost like it was just because like, I think this is needed and we'll take the responsibility, because I felt at the time, nobody wanted to take the responsibility of saying, here's how you do it. And we'll take your hand. And yes, we'll say that property, thumbs up to that property, and it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, come talk to us and we'll figure it out together. And for us, I felt like nobody wanted to own that responsibility. Nobody wanted to own it. And we thought, fine, you know what? Screw it. We'll own it. And that's maybe just being naive, or Ernest and Risel. Maybe that was just coming from a place of being naive, right? But that's where it comes from. But I want to get back to your journey there. So,
Right.
so keep.
Anyway, so we spent the summer living in our building that we owned. That was a great experience, actually. That made me feel very proud of making the decision to buy that property, because I was terrified in the beginning. I just left, employee lifestyle. What the heck am I doing buying a building for over $3 million? Like, are you nuts? Right. I don't know anything. Anyway, and then the time came for us to, fly over the Atlantic for the reason why we're here, which was to launch this part of eXp Realty in Portugal. And we just happened, like, talk about intention. Things were shutting down, COVID was spreading, and we just slid in, and then they shut the borders, I guess, in Portugal.
Well,
2 days
we were
after.
checking the news every day.
Yeah.
So we get here like at 5 a.m. We get to the gate, and the dude says, "What are you doing here?"
What are you doing here?
He goes, "Well, we just come and check out the place. We were thinking of doing some investment." He goes, "You can't come in." So what do you mean you can't come in? And he said,
We're not open to tourists.
We're not open to tourists. Like,
But
didn't you get the memo?
All of the
Dude,
websites said they were still open.
I don't know what's. Anyways, we had this moment where we're looking at each other, going, okay. And he goes, okay. So when do you fly home? He says, we don't fly home. We came on a one-way ticket. Right? And he goes, what? What? He goes, okay, just go, get out of here. I don't want to deal with you guys. It's too early in the morning for this shit. So we walked in, we looked at each other, go, okay, we're in. And so anyway, so that's been part of our, for the people listening, I truly believe, when you're very clear in your intention, it's amazing what opens up.
Yeah.
Just be very clear what it is that you want to create. And this is what I'm talking about, the financial freedom point. And, and for us, when we did our budget originally, we thought, man, we got to make a lot of money to live this style. Then we realized, and it was like, that's because we have all of this stuff. If we have 2 cars, then we have 2 insurance bills and 2 this and in the house and the bills and if we have this bigger house. And anyways, it just became, there's just the 2 of us. We want to travel. I don't want to be traveling, spending, like, we've been here 4 months now. Imagine having to worry about paying bills at home
And the
is
house
the
at
furnace
home,
working
and the car,
and all this stuff, and the car sitting there doing nothing. We sold our car
The day we left.
The day we left. I dropped it off the morning, got a check from the dude, and went to the airport. That's a talk about intention, right? Otherwise, the car would have sat in my friend's lot until somebody bought it. But it was just that freedom. It was just, I can't tell you, Nick, how freeing it is not to have stuff. Right? We have 4 suitcases. We came here with 2 each, my golf bag. And now we realize, shit, we could have came here with 2 suitcases.
Yeah.
We didn't need all
each.
this stuff. You have more clothes than what we need, because for the most part, it's whatever. And so that's been the journey. We're excited. We love listening to you guys.
Where did you, when you landed in Portugal, where was your first stop? Like, you had somewhere to stay that first night.
Yeah.
Lisbon hotel.
Yeah, Lisbon hotel.
Okay, hotels. And then from Lisbon, you went out, because I feel like I've been seeing pictures on different beautiful beaches and stuff from Lisbon, then out just to random places on the coast.
In the south coast, in Algarve
The
region. Algarve is a region. It's, and there's all these. So if you know, the Portugal, southern border of Portugal is probably a 1,500 kilometer, maybe 1,500 is that much? Maybe that's not too much. Yeah, no, it's not 1,500 kilometers. I apologize.
Anyway, it's a stretch of beaches.
150 kilometer border in the south, as opposed to 1,500 kilometer north and south. And so that there's a bunch of beaches. So we went, as soon as we take care of business here, and then it was Risel's birthday, a couple of days, and that's another long story, but she got caught. I think it was you guys.
It was you, actually.
It was you.
It's like you said Formula One.
Formula One.
Oh,
It landed on my head.
You got caught on this series on Netflix.
Don't you get sucked into that?
Oh
Yeah,
my
she got
God.
That's
sucked
right. I
in.
I forgot about that. Seeing the pictures of you guys at the Formula One.
It changed my life,
Yeah.
Formula One. Like that's the
Rizal,
person-
I did never would expect to hear this coming from you. Why did it change your life?
just you know what? Just not even what I saw on Netflix, because I was watching Formula One through the eyes of what a team is.
Yeah.
Oh my! And I learned
The lessons
things.
learned
The
So
around-
cool, right?
that
So
I
cool.
wish I knew when I actually
Yeah.
manage people. Like it just blew my mind on so many levels. But not just that. I'm in a mastermind now, and the first bit of homework I had was about Formula One. It was so fantastic to have a live experience of Formula One. Like there were things in there that I had to explain, and I was asked to stop living my life like a Formula One driver, fast,
Awesome.
To
So
You know,
what do you buy your wife for her birthday in a country where you're now becoming minimalist? The last thing she wants
I don't
A
want
is
Ferrari. A Ferrari. It's obvious.
No, I don't.
Ernest.
I don't
A
even
Fer-
want to.
so
a Ferrari sticker. A Ferrari sticker. Maybe that's
like prime seats of Formula One.
yeah. But,
He
yeah.
was over the moon. I
Oh
couldn't
my
believe
gosh,
how
you got to
happy she was.
experience that life.
Yeah.
You know, aren't experiences really what life is about? Really?
Yeah,
Like, do you
totally.
want the car? Like that said so well. Do you really want the Ferrari and everything goes with the Ferrari? I personally don't. But to go to that Formula One race, look, now that you guys have, been removed from the day to day of what you were doing in North America and you're Portugal, and you can reflect back, how are you looking at life? Because I know the very first time over 10 years ago when we went away for a month to Croatia with the family, I remember coming back to the Toronto area, and we had already started this business. And I remember seeing everybody run around. We were much smaller then, but I was seeing, and especially different in the real estate industry, everyone's just running around, mortgage people freaking out, bankers freaking out, everybody's freaking out. And I remember thinking, what's everybody's problem? Like, what's everybody's problem here? Like, why is everyone freaking out? Just slow down, like chill out. And I had never really had that, but I think I was on the beach. I was literally on the beach for a month where everything like for myself and my cousin to go to the bank and come back. I would tell Carol, hey, we're going to go to the bank and come back. In Toronto, that takes 30 minutes. We'd be gone the whole day. He would see somebody he knows in the cafe. We're having a 2-hour coffee there. Then we get to the bank. Oh, they're closed because they're all having lunch. So, okay, we'll go to the market over here. See this guy. We come back. I'm texting Carol. I'm like, Carol, all we did today was go to the bank. That's all we did. Do you know what I mean? That was the whole day. That was the whole day. We barely got back in time for to eat dinner. You know what I mean? And we left in the morning. And so, that carried through when I came back here, just thinking, why is everybody losing it so much? Why is everyone freaking out? You guys must have experienced this now. And now that you're in Lisbon, maybe you're being reminded of the speed of the city. What are some of the thoughts? I'm just curious, like what's some of your thinking? What comes to mind when I say that?
Well, I think you said it, Nick.
Ernest, you're calling me Nick. That's my younger brother. It's Tom. No, don't worry. No, if it was any other name, no, I'm joking. I love my brother. What can I say? And everybody does that, Ernest. I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm just kidding. But go on. I'm curious.
No, what I notice is, and for people who's never experienced, and you guys obviously have, because you used to summer here and as a child, and you've always experienced a little bit of it. Here people, they don't live to work; they work to live. They're okay doing their 9 to 5, and then they go to dinner. They have lunch at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Dinner is like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. They go to the cafe. It's like, okay, go to the bank. You're lining up for 10 hours. Yeah, okay, no big deal. You're reading the paper, whatever. I've been sort of in the chill side, but when it comes to the business side, I'm like, okay, come on. What do you mean it takes 5 hours to do this? Should take 5 minutes. Just press the button. And they're like, what's wrong with you, dude? Chillax, go have a coffee, come back. I remember when we were here in, this is a prime example.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I had to go to a meeting. So I went to this cafe and everybody's sitting at the cafe or whatever. I said, listen, can I have a coffee to go? And he goes, what? He goes, I need a coffee. Can I?
That's blasphemy. How dare you ask that?
Right? The dude he says, dude, you don't have 5 minutes to drink a cup of coffee? Like, really? What are you doing? Is somebody dying? Are you a surgeon? And I'm like, I have to go to the next appointment, but I really need a cup of coffee. So he goes out and get a plastic cup, that they serve beer in for the patio outside. You put saran wrap on top. You go, there you go. So anyways, I think that sort of nails it in the head. People here, they have their coffee, lunch is an hour minimum. Dinner, you go to a restaurant to sit down and have a meal. They're not trying to, you want your check, here's your check. They don't ever ask, you got to beg for your check. Otherwise they leave you alone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That table's yours for the night, so it's, at least that's
hearing you say that, it's like, I remember seeing a meeting with Carol's, my wife's relatives, some of them are still in Florence in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were stopping in off this one visit was just off a cruise ship that had stopped in, I think, Livorno, and we took a van over to Florence, and we're visiting them there. And we stayed overnight actually in a church that had been converted to like a hotel. It was like the most beautiful, it was crazy, right in the heart of Florence. And the next day we only had a certain amount of hours, and we had to get back because the cruise ship is going to leave, right? We're on the cruise ship for another 10 days. Like we got to get back to the cruise ship, right? So we're going in, and the kids are getting hungry and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm asking Carol's relatives there. I'm like, can we get some pizza? And can we get a pizza slice? Like, can we get a slice of pizza? Like North American style, like a slice of pizza just to go. The horror that came over their face. They said, if we go to our friend's restaurant there and ask him to quickly make a pizza so you can have a slice and eat it while you're walking, you're going to eat the pizza while you're walking? I go, yeah, because we got to walk back to this van. We go, no. Then you're not going to eat. You don't eat while you're walking. They were just so disgusted with the idea that anyone related to them would be seen eating a piece of pizza while they walk. Right. And I just thought, oh my gosh, man. I kind of thought they were crazy for a little bit, but then I thought, man, we're so wound up, we're so wound up on this kind of schedule. So that's cool. I wonder I wonder where this will head for you in your own thinking. And I think so many of us wait for the right time to live life on our own terms, or whatever you want to call it and define it, and it's what's cool about you guys is you guys you're like, okay, now's the right time. We're doing it. There's no goal, because the goal marker always changes. Like you're saying, Ernest and Risel, it always changes. That financial freedom thing that you guys, it's exactly what you say. I will 1 more property, 2 more properties, 8 more properties, this much equity, this much cash flow. And you guys are just out there doing it. And so can you see yourself now, will you stay in Portugal developing now this new business here, or will you move to other, what's the plan, or what comes to mind now?
We open Italy at the end of March. So as soon as we can get across the border, we're going to pop over. France opened a week after we did. We haven't been able to.
So your role is opening these now, the commercial side?
No, not the commercial side yet, because the commercial side took 3 years to happen. This global launch has been whatever. So we opened full commercial brokerage. EXP Commercial is fully operational as a company in October of 1st of last year. So that took a little bit longer because it didn't make any sense. Imagine it's like you're so busy in your business. Says, hey, Tom, let's do commercial business.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity with what you're doing. Yeah, totally got it. Okay, so you're opening up the residential side in these different countries.
Well, I mean, there's no such thing as residential commercial. Here you sell chickens, you sell eggs, you sell real estate, you sell whatever, you sell your firstborn, whatever you got to do, right? When I did the study for Portugal, I went back to the team and said, so Ernest, how many realtors in Portugal? Well, about 10,900,000. And the guy goes, what? I said, dude, everybody's a realtor. And the barber and the beauty salon lady, they're the top earners. Right? They know everybody and they're connecting. Oh, you want to sell? Hey, he wants to buy. Hey, you got to give me a little something, right? No problem. So it's that kind of, I would say probably 40% of the deals get done through realtors. The other 40% gets done by the owner themselves. And maybe 20, 30% gets done from somebody who knows somebody in the middle privately, right? Get around.
Who's still taking a cut. I mean, that's what I saw in Croatia as well, that, individuals just, hey, I'm referring this guy, you kick me back this, and it's not said as a negative. It's said as like, hey man, like I'm bringing this guy to you. That's just how business is done.
In North America, you go to jail for giving somebody a referral.
Well, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, you have to have a real estate license.
There you asked me.
That's why I was shocked in dealing with people over there. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, you're going to introduce me? And I at first thought like this was maybe not criminals, maybe too aggressive a word, but I'm like, are these guys like some kind of shysters here? Like, what am I, who's like, what, someone screwing me here and I don't get it. But then I came to know, I'm like, oh, that's just how business is done here. You know, like I'm going to refer you over, you give me this in return. And I'm like, oh, okay, got it. I see. It's a little less, I don't know if it's regulated is the right word, but it's kind of a little less regulated.
No regulator.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a realtor
She's
here.
a realtor here. You just need a tax number. They just need to make sure that you get their taxes. That's all.
So is that how it is? If you have a tax number and you can go and accept commission or payment for doing real estate deals?
You land here, you open up a company, you register, you get your tax number. You got 90 days to make business, and then you can leave for a day, come back, and you get another 90 days. And you can operate, but they track you, man.
They track you by your tax number.
I think somebody said, I don't know if it was in your interview or another interview, these little countries, they could be as backwards as they want, but collecting taxes,
they know how to do it.
They're number one, bro.
Yeah.
They're the best. You can't cross the street. You have a receipt, you went to buy something, your receipt, they always ask you for your tax number. If your tax number is not on that receipt, it ain't happening.
You can't have a right.
And the moment they enter the tax number, guess where that goes? That goes right into the red. They already know. Don't worry, you lose your receipt. We got it.
The government has a copy.
They already have a copy of it. They know.
So for what type of transactions do you have to give your tax number?
Groceries.
So when you check out at groceries, you give the tax number so they can see.
If you're buying certain things that are taxable, like you can, like if I'm buying toilet paper for the office, I'm buying water for the office, right? I need a tax number, right? And so then it goes to, but let's say I bought water for and I bought bubble gum.
So does it make for a more simple tax return then?
What?
Does it make for a more simple tax return or more complicated? Like at the end of a year, is everything just automatically then just recorded? So it's a little easier, or is it still just a mess?
You still have to go through the whole thing. And here the accountant you have to do your books monthly, or you get penalized.
So it keeps you more efficient.
Yeah, you got no choice. So you're either really underground and doing, and obviously there's that happening as well. But it's survival. This is the survival mode under there. But you can't do big business. You can't do large transactions. Everything's tracked. They know everything.
Do you wish you would have done something like you're doing even earlier, or is now the right time? When you did it was the right time?
So when I met Risel and I, we created which is our personal email address, which is reversion 2025, right? So Risel Ernest Real Estate Vision 2025. So we set a goal for 10 years. Mm-hmm. In 10 years, we were going to start this journey. And then we just decided to accelerate it, as we went forward. I said, okay, what do we need to do to start this year? And so last year, in the spring, I said, I'm done. This is my last winter. I don't care. I don't care if I got to go, dig holes somewhere in Nicaragua, whatever. I am not spending more winters here. And so we figured it out, and COVID helped, and having, a virtual real estate company has helped because, yourself, you got bricks and mortar and this and that and all the stuff that you guys have. And that was the blessing with being with our company. Like, we don't have bricks and mortar. We've been virtual 11 years. Everything is on the phone or apps. That's how they run their operation. And so that's been really good. So that is a side. And then we're doing investments. We're looking at these opportunities because, Toronto, to find, if you say, hey, I got a 6 cap somewhere, you have 1,000 people jump on you. Right? Mm-hmm. It's like, that's impossible. I remember back in the day, we used to go to Hamilton and find 14 caps, 15 caps, right? You got to go there with the baseball bat and a gun or something, but you get those deals. And here, this crazy opportunity, a little secret, they don't know about leverage.
Yeah.
When I told them, I said, well, what about if the guy does a vendor take back? What the hell is that legal? You can't do a vendor take back. No, you can't do that. I said, okay, what about private money? What do you mean private money? You got to go to the bank. You got to put 25, 30% down. I said, well, what about if I put 5% down, I get the vendor to take back 20 points? Huh? What? No, you can't get.
So do you think there's an opportunity to do some deals like that there with the banks funding the rest of it? Oh, wow. Good for you guys.
And the tax, so the tax advantages. We went to a gentleman yesterday, 40 something, oh God, how many square feet was that? Oh, that's meters. So I don't know.
Sure.
Or lots, 400, 500,000 square feet of warehousing, factory, blah, blah, blah. And the gentleman, he's 84 years old, but he's planning that he's going to retire when he hits 100. He still works 6 days a week, right? and he's paid this stuff off like 50 years ago, and so it's going to be one heavy tax bill because capital gain and da 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 and all that stuff. And so we told him about take back a mortgage, give it to the family trust, whatever. Dude, this guy, I thought he was going to start getting up at 84 and doing a little dance because he was like, okay, I got to talk to my accountant. I got to figure this out. So he's now made it, almost impossible deal very possible, because now somebody can get in. And then he tells me about his larger factory in Mozambique and the larger one in Angola, because these are all former Portuguese colonies, and the Portuguese owned sort of the west coast of Africa at one time. And so anyway, so there's lots of businesses down there. So there's lots of opportunities. And, we joked about, we would see these ruins. I think you saw a little video one time, this dilapidated stuff. But if you
which looked beautiful to me.
Yeah.
To me,
people
we're like,
are doing
yes.
things with it. Yeah.
But the moment you have one of those in your piece of land, you can redevelop. If you don't have a ruin, 5 rocks that were a former foundation of something, then you can't build. It's now agricultural land, and to get it rezoned or anything. So you just, you go borrow some of the guy's foundation next door, put it there. Look, it's there. But they know. Somehow they know. I have no idea. But so those are opportunities. And then here in Lisbon, you'll see these beautiful buildings done. And there's every street, my friend, there's like at least a dozen abandoned buildings, beautiful buildings, just abandoned because, great grandpa, left it for the kids, and then the kids, because here everybody immigrates out.
Yeah, the kids are not here. So the building just sits.
They just say, if all the Portuguese came back home, it wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
They're spread out like thin, right? So it would be millions of people live outside. And then somehow the bureaucracy, they didn't have a document, there's no deed, and how do you trace it? And doing an estate sale here it's a big to do, because you got to track it back, and you got to yada, and somebody's got to sign, and you got to prove. My great grandfather owned that.
Yeah, I've seen that kind of stuff in Europe. It gets crazy because you're going back generations. Like in North America, it's made me appreciate some positives of the North American real estate market. I'm like, oh, it's so simple here. You change title, buy some title insurance if you think something's at risk, and you're good to go. Whereas there, they're like, well, to sell you that property, I have to go check this person. I think the grandchildren are in Sweden, and there might be somebody over here. And I'm like, holy, this is we're talking a 5-year journey to figure out if this land's available for sale, right?
So grandpa owned 10 acres. He had 10 kids. He gave each one an acre. They created their own fence, built their own little house on the acre, and there's no deed. There's like whatever. It goes back to grandpa's 10 acres. That's what they can develop. But meanwhile, Junior sold it to his cousin's friend's brother, and now he's living there. He paid the cash. The other guy's gone, and it's like, it's my house. It's like, oh my God.
Getting through that.
You guys have a lot of work. There's a lot of opportunity in that mess. There's a lot of opportunity.
A lot of
in that
learning,
mess.
which is great. Yeah.
A
lot of learning.
Insane.
Great. Yeah.
So, and it's okay. So, we're in no rush. We thank you guys. We've been getting into the crypto. We got a little bit of metal ourselves, so we couldn't haul our metal in our suitcase because we need another. That way we had a lot, but it's heavy. And so we figured it out. So it's buried there. We got some GPS in Canada.
Whoa! I didn't know there was some GPS in Canada coordinates that we need to know. This is great. Okay, we're soon going to cover the world.
Yeah.
with the
stuff stashed away back home as well. So, but we like this. Electric gold, or whatever you want to call it. That's making a lot more sense.
It does. For the life you're living and for what it offers, it's a little more convenient. right? It's a little more convenient than burying some stuff in the ground.
And kind of I wanted to just add this piece, kind of with the rockstar model, because it's not just the real estate. Remember, I think I shared with you and Nick, what I love is the other things that you also offer, like phenomenal high performance medicine, you know, things about estate planning. To live life like this on these terms, the estate planning piece is a big piece. Like, to me, I could not leave Canada without having that in place.
Cool.
On so many levels, to have that peace of mind. Anything happens, wills, you know, estate planning, all of the insurances, like that is always something to keep in the back of your mind and put in place early, so at least something is in place in case of an event.
And appropriate management, like we have the building there, it's fully managed. You know, we only hear about, you know, we get a report middle of the month saying the good, the bad, and the ugly that we used to have to deal with on a daily basis. I don't know what's going on. The toilet blew up. Oh well.
It's funny how things take care of themselves when you just don't pay attention sometimes. Like, to have the systems in place. When you, but then they just take care of themselves. Listen, good for you. And this is such a two-way street. The fact that you're sharing your stories here is so meaningful to us, because I know someone's going to listen to this. Like, I already know 2 or 3 years, someone's going to say, hey, I listened to Ernest and Risel, and you know what? I went out to meet them in Portugal. We had a coffee. I told Ernest we couldn't take the coffee to go. So we sat down and we enjoyed the coffee at the table there. And I think that's kind of really what's important to us, that we're all sharing together. Yeah. Right. Because it's something you learn, you tell it to us, we can share it with someone, we can all learn faster, and it kind of a momentum builds for all of us. So thank you for, you didn't have, you're trying to get back to the beach. You didn't have to sit here and talk about this kind of stuff today. So
it's on Facebook. You'll see the beach.
Yeah. So do you want to share any contact information on Facebook or something, or would you prefer not to? What do you want to do?
On Facebook.
Oh, okay. So sorry, repeat that. Repeat the name on Facebook.
Ernest Furtado. It's
exactly as it's printed on the screen.
And Risel is Risel. Risel.
Cool.
Or Risel.
And we will link to both of your Facebook profiles then. So if anyone listening to this wants to check you out and see some of the pictures. And stuff.
Oh yeah.
There's other ways to contact us and stuff like that. You know, we here, it's funny, if you're coming to Europe, you have to have a WhatsApp number. Otherwise, they don't know. What do you mean?
You can't. They don't function without WhatsApp.
Everybody uses WhatsApp. You know, the business. What's your WhatsApp number? You put your WhatsApp number on your business card. You don't put an office or business. It's WhatsApp. So that's how they communicate. You know, they're opening up new things there every day. There's a new social whatever, some kind of communication. But that's pretty much it. So you know, we are available from there on as well. So.
And we love helping people. So. Whatever
Awesome.
support we can give. Oh yeah. I mean, what would life be? You know, we didn't
I
turn
think,
around and say thank you and help people.
And I think you guys do a great job of that, Tom. And you know how many people we've referred to you guys along the way. As soon as they say, "Hey, we want to check out this real estate thing," I said,
you guys grabbed somebody in a parking lot, I feel, one day and dragged them into our office.
Yeah. Some lady in a Home Depot
Sharon
started asking
us.
Sharon, she just started asking us. What are
we
we doing with all this material? We said, we're renovating. I've been thinking about getting into this real estate business. Great. Here, call our friends. Yeah. And she did.
Yeah.
And it's been like that with some family and some friends. You know, the reason I said that is that, you know, I don't know how you guys do it, but the value you provide for the, gosh, man, it's like, you know, talk about 10x, 1,000x. You know, what the value you guys provide to the members is ridiculous. You know, you guys are giving away, and you know, and obviously you're making a living as well. But you know, the amount of what you give, and it's not only about the financial, but it's the love and care that I see you guys provide. I mean, you guys go above and beyond, like you know, what you guys do to support. You know, and obviously it's obviously supporting yourselves and your family. And, you know, I love, you know, you, Tom, you and Nick have this cool thing, especially you're always teasing your little brother.
Brotherly love.
I don't have a little brother. I tease everybody else. So that's great. And, but it's that respect, not only for, at the end of the day, there's a respect to support each other. And that then spills out to us and all our membership group. And we love that. And we love that. So thank you for what you guys do. And thank you for like the amount of, you know, we we go crazy if we know that you guys are gonna, all the information they provide. I have no idea how you do it. You dig up stuff that, you should be running for prime minister, man. Canada would be the number one country in the world.
You know what? When you get obsessed, I get obsessed about certain topics. So I got obsessed about the economy when I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to figure this stuff out for myself,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then we just started sharing it. Right. But,
it's awesome
Thank
because, it's being aware and it's the heads up.
That's all. And you know what? I think, Ernest, it comes from what our family went through when I saw how hard my parents worked and then they got caught off guard and it almost cost us everything. And I saw how hard they worked. Like my mom had to cross, not a picket fence. There was a strike at some place and they were taking workers to work there and our family needed money and she had to cross that picket line and the abuse that was hurled her way and to see her do that out of need to support our family in tough times and to see how hard they've worked and then to get caught off guard with some economic stuff that I just thought this doesn't seem quite right to me, that you can work that hard, save your money. Something comes and almost wipes you out and okay, maybe you should have learned better. But then for your savings at the same time to also get decimated. I mean, it's kind of this, none of this is right. So to me, a lot of it comes out of principle. I know that might sound crazy, but I'm like, this is not right.
Yes.
This is not right. But anyway, that's a whole other hour. We could talk about that. So I would listen. I want to think we have to wrap up here. There's some noise in the you probably can't hear it yet. We're putting up a 16-foot video wall for next week. So there's some noise starting to, yeah. So anyway, thank you so much, guys. We'll have to bring you back on again and give us an update. I can't wait to have a coffee or a glass of wine in person. Whether it's somewhere in Europe, I feel like we're going to be crossing paths.
Well, we could use some help opening up Croatia. So let me know when you want to have
Yeah. You never know. You never know. So thank you guys. Really, really appreciate this. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All the best. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Hey everyone, so hopefully you enjoyed that episode with Ernest and Risel Furtado. We will link in the show notes of this episode to their Facebook profile so you can track them down on Facebook if you want to communicate with them. They said they're open to that, which we are obviously very grateful for. And if you are listening to this and you want some real estate investing information for yourself, you can go to rockstarinnercircle.com for all of that. That's it for now. Until next time, your life, your terms.